Hello, everybody. Welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm so excited to get more into um, building my free company house and designing it and everything like that. I do want to apologize. I am not feeling my absolute best. I don't have a migraine though. So I was like, I am not down for the count necessarily. I'm not feeling amazing, is the only thing. Like, I don't feel great. So I'm like, you know what? I'm just grateful I don't have a migraine, so that way I can actually decorate here for a bit. I'm gonna go for as long as I possibly can, at least as close to 2 o'clock as I possibly can, because we've got a lot of decorating to do. I left most of the decorating for stream, with the exception of I did add a couple gel partitions here, so that way when my FC members need to go in the timeout, they are just properly in jail. So, and with these jail partitions, you'll notice that, whoops. So I actually searched for, yes, I did make it an actual jail. With the jail partitions, you can't buy it from the market board because, so let's see. Indoor furnishings. Actually, let me go to preview indoor furnishings. So you can't make it. And let's see. So jail partition. And it's spelled jail with a G-A. So jail partition, when you go to look at this item, is untradeable, and you can't buy it from the market board either. So definitely don't sleep on your housing people, because they are not sleeping on content, because this is one of those things that you have to go to Wolf's Den and you have to purchase this with wolf marks, which means that people that are using that, they went and did some PvP in order to get these. So some of these housing items, your housing people had to do some special things in order to get them, whether it be they did some PvP just to get these jail partitions. Because let's be honest, if anyone needs to go to jail, it's probably anybody who gets angry during PvP, because let's be honest, especially during frontlines, nobody cares. There's also a lot of intense crafting that can go behind some of the things, like, but yes, we have an actual jail happening now for this little corner. But honestly, most of the housing things are not too terribly bad to get. Like, getting those, like, I can't remember how many wolf marks you get from Frontline, but these only cost 1,000 wolf marks each. Honestly, I'm constantly looking for things to spend my wolf marks on, so it was kind of nice to be able to spend them on these partitions anyway, because you could only have 20,000 wolf marks at a time. About the only other thing that I spend my wolf marks on is grade 6 dark matter, and that is just because I run free company submarines, which goes through a lot of repair kits, which in a previous stream, we talked about the fact that those repair kits take 5 grade 6 dark matters each, and each component of a submarine, there's 4 components to a submarine, can take varying amounts of repair kits. Some of them can take up to, I believe, 5 repair kits just to repair one component. So you could be looking at upwards to 20 grade 6 dark matters just to repair a submarine, and you burn through that really fast. So that's what I used to burn my wolf marks on. I've been really bad about not sending my submarines out, so I could spend them on the jail partitions. So I did also go ahead and dye a few pieces because it was kind of bothering me that they weren't the right color. The nice thing about it is that now you really only have this standard spectrum dye that you really got to worry about. At least in my case, I don't worry about a lot of the special dyes because I don't want to use those special dyes on housing items. I prefer just to, like here, this looks pretty darn close to black, and this is just the suit black color. It's not really worth it in my eyes, especially with the color of the walls. Like, I feel like the soot black, having the warmth of that color, works really, really well for creating the moody atmosphere that I'm going for. If I were to go with jet black, I feel like we'd have a little bit more clashing because that is a pure black. So it's going to be very, very cold. I want moody, but I still want it to be warm. So I'm mostly going to be sticking with the spectrum, the standard spectrum, which means that I've really only got one spot that's being taken up with dyes. Normally, the reason I wait until the end to dye things is because it takes up so much space to have all those dyes in your inventory. Anyhow, let's get some more decorating done. I am going to go ahead and place... I wasn't going to place these tables. I did... Let's see. That one I think is a... Oh, that's a wide spectrum. Whoops. Not even in the housing menu. I just want to get some things out of my inventory because they're making me anxious. I'm not necessarily going to keep these chairs this time. I might actually swap these tables and chairs out because we've had a lot of really awesome table upgrades since the last time I decorated. But one reason I like these is because you get chairs with them. It creates a nice seating atmosphere for everybody. Even though these are very bright and country looking. So they don't really go with the warm moody that I'm trying to go for. But they're going to get placed for now. And it could totally be that maybe I just need to dye them. But let's see. Burnishy color... Okay, thanks for joining. No problem. Have a good day at work. Let's see. So, yeah, so I can't get the chairs to be quite the color that I want. I can at least get the cloth to be dark. But they haven't expanded on the coloring for other items. So I'm not going to worry about these for now because I'm probably going to end up replacing them. The other thing about your house decorators is that there are housing items like this, the ice box. So this is a really cool housing item because like it's actually a proper ice box. You open it up and it's a little mini fridge on the inside. You have your ice at the top, and then you have all of your refrigerated items on bottom, and you can interact with it to open and close it. Some of my FC members like to leave these open all the time, to which they go to jail. But housing items like this one are blocked behind actually doing things with your free company or having a decent amount of gil, because sometimes the materials for making items like this can be pretty hefty. Now, the price might have gone down on this since its initial release, because now it is a much more common drop for making it. But for the icebox, even though it shows up as a craft, that damaged icebox item drops from your free company submarines only when they go on certain voyages. And they're pretty high level voyages that they have to go out on in order to get these damaged iceboxes. So they can be pretty pricey to get your hands on them. Now, because I'm a hoarder, I actually have 4 of them left over, because I absolutely love this housing item, and I run submarines. Now, the lignum vitae lumber and ice rock, absolutely no problem, but the damaged icebox is where this gets pricey and why this item is pricey. So, like, there's also that to keep in mind, is that either they are spending a ton of gil, which they probably are one way or another, or they are having to do a lot of very different things. Like, this game turns into a very, very different game for people that get into a lot of housing stuff because they're like, oh, well, now I have to worry about submarines, which is its own enigma to worry about. Like, I remember showing this to my other free company leaders, in particular the submarines, and they're like, you're just playing a completely different game than what we are, aren't you? And I'm like, well, I guess, yeah. But one reason I really like these beyond just being able to open them is that, so I'm going to put some of these teal ones together here. You can make some really cool looking things with them because they are much more basic looking. They're a nice item to have around. So I'm going to leave that side open and have the other side closed to give the illusion of a kitchen island. This is much easier than doing one of the older processes, which I'll show real quick with my private house. I like using these for kitchen counters because they look nice and it's pretty easy. But like with my personal house, I had to do something much more complex because the icebox was not a thing when I decorated this house. So with these kitchen counters, whoops, I don't want to move that. I want this item right here. So this is actually a fireplace. And that fireplace is one that I had to lift up from the basement to where it's at now. And I have these flooring mats here. You can see up there where it's black, where those fireplaces, you can kind of see the light from the fire, and you can see the fireplace sticking out through the ceiling. I also lifted these flooring mats to cover up the fact that I have things showing up through the ceiling because I lifted them up through the floor to the main floor. That process is really annoying and takes a long time to do. Whereas, I mean, you guys saw me put together a kitchen island really super quickly. It really depends on your amount of dedication and exactly what kind of look you want. I do like the marble looking top of the manor fireplace, which was why I was dead set on doing it in my personal. But after doing it once in my personal, I was like, I'm not doing that again. I am perfectly happy with having the wooden countertops and just in general wooden cabinets. So that's why I deal with the ice blocks personally. I'm like, I'm not about to play that game of floating fireplaces from the basement to make this work. Because I would rather be able to focus on, okay, are my lines, is everything properly lined up here and things like that. Because trust me, with the fireplaces, like getting everything measured out and lifting it to the right spot was a nightmare. I had to redo those fireplaces so many times. It was ridiculous. Just how, like, it... Like, because I was constantly like, oh my gosh, this is in the wrong spot. This is in the wrong spot. This is in the wrong spot. So then I'd have to move them back in the basement and move them all over again. Oh! My cat's knocking over my web camera. By web camera, I mean phone. Because for my V2 model, my phone's camera is better than my actual web camera, so I just use my phone. Cat, what are you doing? What are you doing, cat? Crazy cat. Other quick countertop ideas, like the verdant partition is a nice one too. I might skip the verdant partition this time. One of the reasons I have continued to be so faithful to it was because it was one that I used in my free company house when we originally got our free company house. It was one that I made work in a small and did a lot of things to make the most of that small house for our free company. Which was like use the verdant partition to get a really nice long counter. My problem with the verdant partition is that white at the top. I can't color over it. So it might not stay. I might lift up a verdant partition to block off the white parts. But that white is a very cool white and I don't like it. So it might not stay. Not quite decided yet. While I'm not decided, I'm going to go ahead and just place it so that way it's not clogging up my inventory anymore. Simple sink. I'm trying to remember if that was a... submarine item or not. I know one of the sink, at least one sink is. Get this placed a little bit better. I also highly recommend for anybody that is doing housing stuff. I've never tried it on controller. I can't imagine doing this on controller. I would hate life if I were to do this on controller. Like so much more than I do trying to do anything. Like I'm not a controller gamer when it comes to this game in particular. But I think particularly housing would be one that I'd be like, hell no. That's not happening. I've known several controller players to still do it though, so it is a personal preference thing. I just personally, I would say do it with a mouse and keyboard if you can. Save yourself. Place that there. So we've got some nice cabinetry. I might not keep these cabinets either. I just don't want them in my inventory, making me anxious anymore. Because I don't like the white that's happening in the middle of these hanging cabinets. I really don't care for the white in there. Okay. I moved it a little bit too far. Come on, go in there. Okay. The other thing I like about these ice blocks is that, like, yes, like right here, you could clearly tell they're like a little glitchy and stuff, but being the same color, you don't see the texture issues happening with them like you do with some other items when they overlap. Some items do not go through each other very well at all. For instance, the water features that I have outside of my house, they don't play well together. I'm gonna have to scoot some of this stuff over because it doesn't properly go into the corner. It's fine. It is fine. Well, it's going to be a little staggered from the window. I was trying to put it like right under the window, but I don't know that I have enough ice boxes to have a counter on either side. Oh, okay. I do have some. Okay. Just get it turned around. And even though I'm still going to cover up these windows, I'm still going to line things up with the windows because I'm going to cover up the windows with other windows that fit the theme a little bit better. And because typically with a kitchen, you want the sink to be under a window like that, I wanted to make sure I somewhat lined the sink up there. Let me realign that cabinet. Get the pots and pans there. Okay. There we go. Steal this. To add a little bit of greenery in here. And we're going to do the same. Wiggle, pull it away, and there we go. Snap this on. Oh, I did these before. Okay. It's okay. It's okay. I will just stagger them. So I will put this one down here. This one can stay. Oh, that's gonna clip. Okay, never mind. I don't want them to clip. Move that over a little bit further down. Move that one to my storeroom. So it's out of my way. Dang it. Nope. And sometimes changing your angle can make things even trickier. And sometimes it can help as far as movement goes. Okay. It's going to be like slightly off the wall there, but that's okay. It's not what I wanted. Go over there. There we go. Okay. And these, I'm just placing them decoratively. I'm not going to have them necessarily be level with one another. I want to feel a little bit more organic, and tree branches like that would not grow level with each other anyway, so. It might not be mounted perfectly either. Like they might grow through the wall. I might even lower them a little bit and put a couple of these ivy curtains up. Even though I'm pretty sure these were not where these ivy curtains were, it's okay. Pretty sure I've got a ton of materials for making more of these ivy curtains, so I'm not too terribly worried about it. The lights on that one show pretty well. They extra show on this side, which is what I would want, but I am going to go ahead and lower them, so I'm going to... let's start with this one. Okay. Whoops. There we go. Okay. That height's probably good. And no. Just switch my angle a little bit. Okay. Counterplace it off. Whoops. Wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. There we go. Okay. So now we've got like, it's still open, but not like super, super, super open. And creates like a nice, natural, whimsical separation there. Let's see. Okay. Let's see, I need to store these because I don't want those in my inventory, but I don't have somewhere that I necessarily want them at the moment. So they're just going to go in storage. I'm also going to go ahead and store these windows because I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep some of these windows. Like I want to take a look at what windows have potentially come out. Because there might be something I'd prefer the looks of. I've honestly forgotten that this was a housing item. This is not a new housing item, by the way. This one's actually been one for a while. I actually have it in my alts free company room, and I absolutely love it. That's not really going to go with things. And ooh, I know exactly. Okay. I do not have any of those, but I definitely need it. I am going to open up a note editor and put that in my note editor because so over here, I'm going to do a shrine to a couple of the gods of Final Fantasy XIV. Because my free company is called Azima's Haven. So I like to have an image of Azima, an image of Thaliak, and a image of Novika because Azima is married to Thaliak and her daughter is Novika. So I like to have the family there. And with that, I will probably put this window around it. I think that will add something beautiful to it. That's a nice window, and I could see where people will probably use that. I don't think I'm going to use it myself because I've used the Foolish Threshold before. That's why I'm like, I could see where people would use these pieces, but I don't think I'm going to use the Hingen pieces for windows. That's a nice window. Copy that. Throw it in my note document. I've used this one before. I do absolutely love this one. Imitation doors. For everybody who needs doors. I'm glad that they came out with this arched window because they only had the cracked one for a while. And the cracked one looks so nice. And they didn't come out with the simple one until after the cracked one, and so many people really wanted to use the cracked one but didn't want it to be cracked. So I'm glad that they did the regular one. Okay, so I think that this one's probably one of my best windows. I'm going to recopy that name so I can see quickly and easily if it is a craft. Okay, I actually already have quite a few of the materials already in my inventory. Let's see. And oh, hey, I have the materials. This is where being a hoarder, like I am, actually plays out really, really well because I've got a lot of these materials already on hand. Let's see. So that was Honesty Sarge. And I'm just going to craft one for a couple reasons. One of them is I want to see how this will look if I try to place it over top of the current windows. And if I have to turn it around. And if I do have to turn it around, I want to know how it's going to look in reverse. So I'm just going to craft one so that way I can see this. And I'm just going to place it over top of this window here. Let's see. So let me disable the snap grid and I'm going to lower this so that way it's nice and lowered over top of this window. So I'll definitely have, like for each of these, I'd have to place something by them to kind of cover up the fact that they are over top of windows. but this is going to end up snapping, and that looks terrible. Okay. So forward facing, not going to work. So we're going to try facing it to the wall. Place it over top of that window. Do the wiggle. All right. That looks pretty dang good. It's pretty flush to the wall, so I don't need to put anything else there. The other thing I like is that with these imitation stained glass or stained crystal panes that I was using, I had to use multiples of them to cover up the circles. Whereas this window, I only need one. So that's going to help me on housing items. Okay, for a second, I was going to be really upset if I couldn't paint this, but I can paint it, and I can even paint it. If the soot black still feels too dark, cobalt brown is very close to black, but it's a brown, so it's warmer for sure. It's a color I absolutely love, and it's a standard spectrum. So I'm probably going to be making several of these and going with this window, because I think, especially in reverse, like that light looks so nice right there. That's the other thing about reversing windows and hanging them backwards, is that you don't have nearly as much glare coming in from the lights. It is a much softer light that's coming in from those windows. So hanging them backwards like this is super, super, super nice. So let's count out the windows. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. I mean, that one's that wall is probably going to get covered anyway, but 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. That wall's getting covered. 8. 9, 10, 11. Okay. Just need 11 of those. I also need to grab, before I forget, I need to make another one of those bookshelves. And I looked it up earlier, and it was, I needed mahogany. Or not mahogany, rosewood. It's mixing it up with something else I looked at. Because with the reason I mixed it up with mahogany was I was talking to somebody about submarines earlier, and it takes mahogany lumber to unlock the submarines. So I was like, make sure you get your you get those mahogany lumbers and you turn them into your schematic board, so that way you can unlock building submarines and you can actually make those. I can't remember how many of these I need. I know I need at least one bookshelf. One reason I definitely wanted to make sure that I make this on stream too is because this mounted bookshelf is the reason I could afford my first house. And it's actually a really super easy craft. So let's see. So it is pile of tomes, stack of tomes, and some rosewood lumber, which, if I recall correctly, is a Realm Reborn wood. If it's not a Realm Reborn, then it's Heaven's Ward. But these two items are just purchased from any housing vendor. You could place a housing vendor inside of your house, or there are also housing vendors in every ward. But it is a super easy craft, and I was selling these for quite a bit of gil. This was years and years and years ago that I did it. So, like, I'm not saying that this is necessarily a good way to make gil now. I'm saying don't waste your gil on the market board buying it, because people are uh, um, over overprice it for what it is. The thing with housing items too is that some things you can't quick synthesis. Like, in case anybody needs to hear that error message noise more, but you can't quick synthesize them. So it's like you have to craft them one at a time. I highly recommend, if you are going through this process and have to make a lot of items, make a macro. Save yourself. Make a macro. I do one that I used with trained eye. I honestly use this for just about everything that I know is going to be a quick and easy craft for me. That way it's just a single button instead of clicking on multiple buttons. Even though there isn't a high quality version that you can even make with this, like, yes, I know using trained eye makes it maximum quality. It keeps me from having to make multiple macros. And as I said, I use this like for my allied societies each day. There are some of my custom deliveries or collectibles that this macro works just fine on. And it's just a couple lines of trained eye, veneration, and some groundwork. So long as you can use trained eye, which is for anything that is 10 or more levels below your current crafting level, it works. So I'm like, I'd rather press one button and be able to basically no-brain it than have to worry about making multiple macros that are going to work for something that's low level like this particular. Now, higher level stuff, I cleaned up my macros quite a bit. Do I have Almasty fur? That's the real question. Okay, I've got a ton of that, so that I could quick craft. Let's see. Almasty, where are you? There you are. In case anybody's wondering, no, it is not because, like, I do not have the images memorized. It was because it said I had 75 of them. So I was like, oh yeah, that should be really super easy for me to find. Just look for the stack of 75. Because some of the images for various items look way too similar to one another, and my eyes are not going to be able to tell the difference. So, whoops, I didn't mean to only craft one. But at least this, I could tell it to quick synthesize. I don't have to worry about remembering to click a button or anything like that. But even still, at least with housing items, I could just click one button and it's going to craft it really, really, really fast. So far, we have 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, I don't even need to count. It says it right there in the total. I have a total of 8. So I only need to make 3 more. I'm just going to go ahead because this fur, I don't think is used for anything other than making this fabric. I'm just going to go ahead and make it all into the fabric anyway. That way I have more than enough. And that way, in the future, in the likely event that I need to make more of these windows, I don't have to worry about making more surges. I can just go with what I have in stock. There we go. 9. 2 more. There we go. And I'm actually going to... I actually like the cobalt brown better, I think, for the entry here. So I think I'm going to switch these to the cobalt brown. Make that entry even warmer. Make my slats match. Okay, that one's already... I was like, one of these surely has got to already be the cobalt brown. And I will fix those. I don't like how they are spread out at the moment. Like, I think I would like them spread out just a little bit better. Let's see. Sorry, I've got some distractions. I actually might leave it more open, like that. Yeah, I think, because that helps break up the, oh, never mind, hold on. We need to... pull it forward just a little bit to help block that, and then I think I'm going to rotate these. So that it conceals the that sticks out a little bit. Conceal the that sticks out even more than the other side. Maybe I just intentionally stick it out a little bit. Let's see, so, okay, these are not sticking out the same distance. I think that's because I did it as that. There we go. That is much better. I was going to try to raise those up. But I don't think that's going to work. That's okay. Hi, Euler. How's it going? I'm doing all right. Not feeling my best today, but no migraine at least. So, like, I could still decorate. I could still properly think through decorating. All right, there's number 2. You could put vendors in the house. That is a good question. Like I have quite a few vendors in here. So however, or the number of vendors that you can have just varies based upon the house size. But yes, you could put it or put vendors in the houses. So like for instance, here with my large house, I could have up to 10 vendors. But private chambers and apartments can only have 4. Cottages can have 6. Medium houses can have 8, and large houses or mansions can have 10. Which ends up putting a lot of duplicates if you're going with like 10 and stuff. But especially if you've got a large space to cover, that's where a lot of people add those. But then also people like to add them in, like if they're creating like a venue or something like that, to make it seem like they have people working in specific areas and such. Some people also just like to give that illusion of people working in specific areas just because that's just the vibe that they are going for with what they are building. For instance, for a little while, my alt character, her large, was decorated like a beauty parlor. And so I wanted to give the illusion of, or I guess a beauty salon. I wanted to give the illusion of having people working behind different counters. I'm going to place this one in the middle. There we go. Let's see. Place these over top of all these windows. So I can get them all the same height. Okay, for a second, I thought this window here was over top of the stairwell, and I was gonna be like, well, that one might be a little bit more challenging for me to get a window onto. Not impossible, but that might be a little bit more challenging. But we got this. We got this. It's still like right above a flat surface. All right. Wiggle that one. Move this away. I should do Monster Hunter stuff. I'm not a huge Monster Hunter player myself. But But the Palicos, yes, I probably do need some Palico vendors, especially since like I do know quite a few people in my free company are Monster Hunter people. Um, so I should definitely do that. I'm going to for sure turn like for now I just threw a bunch of heres there, but I am going to switch at least one of them to a Lalafell because you got to have a Lalafell, and then I'm going to properly accommodate that Lalafell with a stool. They will have a stool to stand on. It will be annoying to put them on a stool, but they will stand on a stool. I gotta show all these other areas. Like, even though, as I said, like, my house that I'm decorating here is in Goblet. And that is a part of Old Da. And Old Da, traditionally, they're actually pretty good as far as making accommodations. But still. Okay. Okay. Got... Okay. Surface snap back on. So that way I can line this all up properly. Go back down 1 pixel. Okay. There we go. Don't want either one of those on. I need the partition. Or the stage panel. There's that. There we go. All right. And this last window was supposed to be for that one, but I think I'm going to cover that one up anyway. So other vendors that you can get, you could get them in housing districts, for instance. For instance, when I go out to Old Da, or not Old Da, to Goblet, over, let's see. I know where it's at in Mist just because I've had so many houses in Mist. I want to say they're probably over here by the resident caretaker, or at least somewhere in this general vicinity. Let's see. So, Goblet Exchange subdivision. I'm going to try going over there. So there's a material supplier and the junk monger right here. Which the material supplier just has like some crafting materials and stuff. As well as like some gardening things. Junk monger also has fish bait, which makes absolutely no sense to me. Why does a junk monger have fish bait? Like, are you really calling fishing junk? Like, is that what we're going with here? I want to say those are actually up above. Oh yes, Make It Rain ends in a week. Housing merchant, and I want to say it's in one of these, if I recall correctly. It's been so long since I've bought Maybe it's the resident caretaker. No. I don't think... Yeah, I was like, I don't think this guy has it. Yeah, because company credit exchange definitely not going to have it. And then not possession retrieval either. And I don't think it's going to be anything that's in here either. Why do I not remember this? Oh, it's been so long. Okay, so you can get them... Let's see. So I am talking to the right merchant. I'm just looking in the wrong area. I don't see... Yeah, because this is going to be walls and flooring. I'm just going to click on all of them. Chairs and beds not going to be it. Table and food's not going to be it. I mean, I'll still click on tables and food, but that's not going to be it. It's not an other. But I know for sure you can get them in the apartment building in the lobby. Let's see, there's the apartments. So we're gonna go to the lobby. And you should be able to, let's see. Yeah, so this is honestly going to be easier than trying to find it on the residential district with each and every one of them, because like they're all so inconsistently structured, I feel like. But in the lobby of any of the apartments, so you go to any of their apartment buildings, go into the lobby, and you talk to the apartment merchant. They're going to have permits for your non-beast tribes and your non-special vendors. So they're just kind of basic, and you pick what race that they're going to be and all that stuff. They're not really very, very, very special, but they're cheap. They're only 3,000 gil. So, and you don't have to do anything special to be able to hire them. Like with the, like you said, with the Monster Hunter one, you have to go through the Monster Hunter quest lines and all of that stuff. And then with the Beast Tribes, you have to have certain rep with the Beast Tribes. But with these ones, you don't have to have any particular reputation or anything like that. Like some of them are 5,000 gil. But like they all have different perks and things that they do. But yes. Yes, exactly. It's like, it's already hard enough, like going through and decorating your house and all that stuff. But yeah, they have these vendors all over the place. And by vendors, I mean like just the different types of vendors, like are very disorganized within each residential district. It's hard to properly find them. Whereas if you just go to the apartments and go to the lobby, you can quickly talk to the apartment merchant, and then you say purchase items, and you can get the permits there. It's going to be much faster. Whoops, I don't want to get those fish tank trimmings. You might also be able to, if you get one that is specifically for housing merchant stuff, you might be able to get them within your own home. I don't think that's the case, though. I think you have to specifically go to one of the ones that's out and about. Like, I don't think you can. So, for instance, mine is the Elegant Housekeeping node here. Yeah, so items, it just has some food. And it's not going to come up in those other sections because it's not an interior, it's not walls, it's not floor. It's not actual housing decor. They are actual vendors. And it's not going to come up in other because these are just additional housing furnishings. So you would have to go to one of those. And I think just the most consistent way to find it is to just go to the apartments. Yes, the apartments are in different places within each residential district, but you at least have a node that you can go to and then go to the building, say, I want to go to the lobby. And much easier to figure out where that's at than to try to figure out where the specific housing vendor is at and then go through all their stuff. I also feel like it's really annoying going through each of their menus because their menus are not organized the same, which is really, really frustrating. Like the Junkmonger here doesn't sell fishing lures. Like, they're named the same thing, but they sell different things. And that's where I'm like, okay, this is confusing. Oh no, totally fine. Totally fine. I'm more than happy to do those little side quests and recall some of those things. Because as I said, like I hadn't bought vendors in forever. And honestly, I don't even think I was the one who got these vendors for the free company house. They're just the ones that we've had since we got our free company house. And I just keep using them still. I haven't replaced them with anything else. I probably will at some point go a little bit more with a theme as far as what those vendors are going to be. I just never ended up putting the work in to do that. Because like at some point, for instance, I would like to have some, like at least a couple Namazus. Like I feel like it would be actually really nice to have a couple Lalafels, a couple Namazus, some Palicos, like have them all be short. I'll probably just, for the sake of it, keep the Elegant Housekeeping node. Like, just keep it the way that it is. I do like having it look a little different. But yeah, these ones might get replaced with, at least with short people. Short creatures. Okay. Let's change the colors of some of these. At least so that I would be, especially if they hadn't redone how dyes work, I would probably be more stingy and be like, nah, I'm not going to dye these right now until I have a general idea of a theme. I'm just going to get them dyed at the moment so that way they look a little bit more cohesive with how I have things at the moment. And not being awkward. Because they just looked weird. Okay. Let's get this bookshelf placed. Oh man. Weird gap right there. I mean, I could bring these out further, I guess. And, oh, I didn't even know there was a window right there. Okay, I guess I do end up I will end up needing that window that I've got downstairs. Okay. I mean, that's fine with me. I just was not expecting to have to end up using that. Like, I thought I was like, wait, I counted an extra because I forgot that I was going to, because I counted this window, but I forgot that I was going to cover it up. But I guess it worked out. Okay. There we go. Just put that in my inventory for now. Okay. There we go. Now we probably have a whole wall of nothing but books. I might even... Because I know I've got... There we go. There's the one I've used. I'm like, wait, what? It's like, I know I've used one. Place this there. Make a couple more of these partitions. Oh, they don't go all the way up. I forgot about that. Ugh. That's annoying. Never mind about that idea. Put that back in the storeroom. We'll just leave that open. Because I was like, I thought about making like a little secret area there, but I like these partitions a lot. I kind of wanted to keep that extra little cute greenery, but not at the sake of losing those. Let's see, where are those? Lattice planner partition. I don't remember if I had to make those or not. Yes, I did. Okay. Do I have hummus? I was like, I feel like I've used a ton of hummus, so that sounds like something I would keep in stock. The growth formula lambda, yeah, I'm like, that's something that I think I've probably ran out of stock of. And Seba lumber, okay. I guess I don't have any of that, but do I have Seba logs? Okay, I've got the logs. I've got the logs for making that, okay. I also might want to make... lattice windowed cabinet and lattice window set. Okay, hold on. We gotta look at some of these. Ooh. That. Okay. And we have the planner partition, and then... oh, that other thing was an outdoor item, I'm assuming. Yes, outdoor furnishing. Okay. But I definitely think I'm going to have to make one of these to make like a nice little window seat right there. Okay, so I've only got one of those. Only one of those. I've got plenty of dark mahoganies. Oh, I have a feeling... okay. That's... okay. I'm assuming, without looking it up, I'm going to assume that this weatherproof plywood is one of the things that... oh, I don't even have to look it up. I can just read the description. How this gargantuan slab of wood managed to sink to the depths of the ocean is uncertain. So a description like that tells me that this came from a submarine voyage. And the reason I don't have any in stock is because my submarines are going through low-level maps at the moment. So they are not coming back with materials like this one. So this is probably going to be a pricey item. But we'll see. We'll see. Let's check the market board before jumping to too many conclusions. And I am going to put some steps, like make a bigger landing area and put some steps there. I'm just distracted by this lattice seat that I'm like, I feel like that's a necessity. Yeah, so expensive. And it looks like in the last month it has come down significantly in price, at least on my server. This is a moment where I am going to check the Universalis though, just to see if maybe it is cheaper somewhere else. But let's see. I guess, okay, I don't necessarily need to give my data center any of that stuff. Let's see. It's a little bit cheaper. As far as crystal goes, the Universalis has this as the cheapest price. This one right here for crystal. Before I buy that though, I am going to see what people are... Okay, so that is going for way more than what that singular piece of plywood is going for. And you only need one piece of plywood. So I'm just going to go ahead and buy the one piece of plywood. Now, the Universalis does have Exodus and Leviathan over on Primal, selling this for a little bit cheaper. But I didn't want to have to hop, skip, jump, and potentially find that. I wasn't like the one on Leviathan that I'm looking at the moment was not there anymore. It looks like there were ones that were on Excalibur that were also cheaper, but they were bought like 12 hours ago or so. So those ones are not there on Excalibur, but we might see Excalibur drop in price again. But yeah, that's where those submarines can make a lot of gil, but it's only a chance on those particular drops. So like to give an idea, another side adventure that I am putting myself on here. So how I know with the gil is I went to universalis.app. Like let me switch to screen share here. So I went to universalis.app and then I searched for the weatherproof plywood, and I just searched in America. You can actually have it be as specific as you want it to be. I just went ahead and searched all of America servers, and then when I look down here, it says the cheapest is in Leviathan at the moment. And you can see that Diabolos actually doesn't even show up there anymore. Someone may have already scanned it to have what I just bought disappear. But Diabolos was listed on here, but I could look at the different prices and see all of that different stuff. Now, as far as the submarine stuff goes, that goes with looking at various resources. Let's see. Let me find that server real quick. I've got so many servers. There we go. So this I found from joining the Final Fantasy XIV Submarine Builders Discord. And they have a lot of different resources, such as this sheet for the loot and builder. And these submarines are exclusive to free companies, and those free companies do have to have house. It doesn't matter the size of the house, and the size of the house does not impact the number of airships or submarines that you can have. You can have no more than 4 of each, and you can have no more than 4 going at a time between both airships and submarines. Now, you can get some decent stuff from the airships. However, if guild making is part of it, or making specific housing items and stuff, like some of the more recent stuff, you're not going to get as much from your airships. The airships were really a Realm Reborn, which is why they cap out at level 50. But your submarines are Heaven's Ward onwards. So they right now can level up all the way to level 130. And you can see that they drop a lot of the current stuff. But what I would have to do is, let's see, apply, what? It's not coming up. What? How is that not coming up? There's no way. That doesn't come from... Well, I know weatherproof plywood is like regular material for actual real world stuff. Okay, I was like, this has got to come from a submarine. Why is it not showing up on this sheet? It must be, this sheet might be a little bit outdated because it also says rank 142. So this is only going up to rank 130. And it says Axeblade Blight. And I don't think Axeblade Blight is even on here because, yeah, rank 130. Yeah, like it's not going different. Damn it. Damn it, Kick. Please ignore that bot. Sorry, because I use a VPN, I can't go on there and boot them myself. But if you're here to bot, get out. Sorry, I don't feel great. My tolerance is 0 for bots right now. Not that my tolerance is much above 0 on a normal day, but today, like, no. And kind turns... kindly fuck off is what I can say to bots. But yes, this comes from submarines, and the main reason the dead giveaway to me was that when I looked in the crafting stuff, it wasn't coming up with anything. It also said I only needed 1 to make it, and then in the description said it comes from the depths of the ocean. So as soon as it says depths of the ocean, it's like, oh, this comes from a submarine. Why it comes from a submarine is beyond me, but it comes from a submarine. Like, weatherproof plywood just doesn't make sense to come from a submarine, but the game does do things like that to give free companies a way to make guild quickly. But that Discord server that I had up, where'd you go, Discord server? There you are. Okay, it just says just a table, but there are a ton of resources. So like here, it actually has more information about each of those particular sectors, there are all kinds of resources here, such as other discords and things like that. There's like general discussions that are happening with the guides and FAQs. It also, like, they're like, okay, here are the abbreviations. And like, as you can see, airship information. We do not recommend building or even using airships. Yeah, it's like, unless you want a very particular item for some reason, like it's honestly not worth it for the airships. Way more worth it to do submarines. And then they have all kinds of descriptions for the submarines. Right now, the farming build out that I use on all 4 of my submarines at the moment is this WSUC, which it does explain what each of those parts are. So a whale component, shark component, Uniku component, and coelacanth component. So these are the 4 components that go into that, and that it goes in that particular order. And you can do paths O and then J within 24 hours. So O and J would be wreckage of discovery, that's O. And then go to unidentified derelict, which is J. Less than 24 hours. But at level 85, it is going to take a little bit more time. My submarine is quite a bit above level 85 at the moment. So, like, for instance here, let me finish that submarine. Whoops. So, like, I have the whale class pressure hull, shark class stern, Ikutu class bow, coelacanth class bridge. You have to go in that particular order for those particular stats to apply in a particular way. As you can see, my rank is only 118 because I have been sending them on this path for a long time. They don't always give really good vendor stuff, but the reason this path is a really good one, and the reason they call it Fight Club, is because it can drop particular vendor items, which I don't have any on hand, that sell for 25,000 plus gil a piece, and they come back with a decent amount of them, so you can make gil very, very quickly and much more reliably that way than you can with getting parts like the like that plywood. It also leaves it open for free companies that's like, okay, they do want to go out and get that plywood, and they won't see the market crash quite so much because people like me are like, no, I don't want to fight with the market board and selling this type of stuff. I would rather go with something a little bit more reliable, such as vendoring at the market. Anyhow, let me switch back to just gaming. So that way my whole desktop goes away. All right. So that's why, like, particularly when it comes to stuff like this, that lattice window seat is really, really awesome. It can just get really, really, really expensive. But, and I'm sure, like, the ice boxes that I have here, I'd have to double check the market board. Those are another thing that are submarine exclusives. But the materials for the ice box, let's see. Yeah, so this damaged ice box, I've still got 4 because I did send my submarines out for those for a little bit because I really wanted to utilize that item. And I ended up getting quite a few of them from just trying to map things out. But even still, those can still get pretty pricey. So just in the fact that I have 4 on one of my retainers, that's already 1.2 million gil. And I've definitely decorated with more than 4 on that really awesome icebox. So trying to decorate with some of those Free Company exclusive things like that gets pricey. But also building it out in your Free Company, like I honestly need to go through. I don't know that I've done any of the Dawn Trail maps. I really need to build out one of my subs to properly map things out, and then make sure I have a build for leveling everything, so that way I can get everything caught up. Because I do like using like ice boxes. Like I have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. There's one in the corner there, but 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14 ice boxes just in my kitchen. I like the Xbox a little bit. There are also, like, I know that a lot of people were really pissed off that one of the sinks was put behind Free Companies. So, yeah, there could be exclusive like that. The only reason it ticks me off is that Free Companies have to have some sort of house in order to get that, and they're limited to specific wards and all that stuff. Like it. There are just so many semantics there that make it annoying. But I need to grab these other items that are needed for actually properly making this set, because I know that I don't have enough materials, because I've been bad about sending my retainers out for anything. And that was another thing that I did like about properly like going through and leveling my submarine and sending out on voyages, because some, like, the reason I have so much Miracle Apple logs is because of submarines. It came back with so many of these dang logs. And I'm like, I'm never going to go through all of them, but I'm still going to hoard them all anyway. Okay, let's see. So that's the Akia. Then I need the dark mahogany. Oh no. I don't have much dark mahogany. Okay, I've already got some made. Okay. And then we need... Okay, those are going to be on a different retainer. Ronic starch. And hammerhead crocodile leather. Yeah, see, this is again, like, too many of the items look exactly the same, because I'm like, that luncheon toad leather looks exactly the same. Oh gosh, let's see, do I actually have... Oh, hey, I actually do have some of that. And, oh, I know I've got some of that alumine. Like, oh, hey, I have way less of that alumine than I thought. I must have gotten rid of quite a bit of it. I used to have thousands. Okay. Let's see, so I need leather worker. I'm just going to make all 4 of them. I might as well. And I should have told it to make normal quality only, but they all ended up being normal quality anyway. So then... Okay, so then I need to be woodworker, and that's it. Okay. Nope, I didn't want to copy the name. I need to, crafting method. We're just gonna make normal quality only, so that way I'm not clogging my inventory with high quality when I don't need high quality for any of these. I'm going to take a drink real quick while I'm doing this quick synthesis. One thing I do like about the submarines and stuff like that is, like, even if you just want to make an alt character and make your free company with an alt character and stuff, you can still do a lot of that submarine stuff with them. Because since they delegated housing wards to be free company specific, and most actual free companies want larger housing because, well, they've got a lot of people. To make sure I burn through these items. But there aren't a lot of people in the in small houses in those wards. So there's a whole bunch of extra small houses that can potentially go to free companies. Probably in a stream in the future, I will make an alt free company and kind of show some of the process with that. To sort of demonstrate some of it, because it's no small amount of work. Like, there's a reason that it's put behind free companies. Like, it's intended for a group of people to work on together, for sure. I'm gonna make this face out here instead, because I think what I'm going to do with that space is going to end up blocking part of this wall. And I want to hide some of that behind this cabinet. There we go. Actually, I might put this chair in this window, or in this area that I'm going to make windowed. Okay, I put 3 of them over there. I was like, wait a minute. I am missing a planter. Red alert. There's a planter missing, but there's not. There's no planter missing. Okay. Oh, now I want... Damn it, I hate myself. And I hate what I'm thinking right now. Because now I might want 2. I might want 2 of these. I'm going to try to build this out a little bit further before I finalize that I want to, because I don't want to spend a whole bunch more gil on it. Because I am spending my own gil for decorating. But I kind of want 2 of these benches. Okay. We're going to see how this ends up looking. I guess I don't need counter placement. Damn it. I keep doing that. Yep. Yep. I think I'm gonna need 2 of this bench. Okay. Okay. Weathered plywood. Oops. I thought it was plywood. Weatherproof plywood. Okay. Fine. Fine. I will just concede to the fact that I have to have a second one. I just have to. There we go. Oops. I didn't mean to hit synthesize again. Okay. And okay, I'm gonna have to scoot that one over like a little bit. Yep. Okay. Now I'm wondering which part dies. Oh, good. I was really hoping it was going to be the wood part of it. Even though, like, part of me does want to have the cushions be a different color. I'm like, you know what? I can make the color of those cushions work. I just really wanted the wood area to be a different color. Hey, Felicia, how's it going? Can I not dye the wood on that partition? Ew, I hate being stuck at work. I say that, but I'm a stay-at-home mom, so, like, I'm pretty much never stuck at work. But also always stuck at work. Whichever way you want to look at it. I've heard it both ways. Let's see. It's not quite lined up. There we go. That's better. I need this to be a little bit further over, though. Like, not much further over, just a little further over. That'll work. Just to, and I'm placing these, like, still just kind of giving myself a general idea of how this is going to look. Because, one thing I want to note is that, like, above, there's a huge gap up there. And, ooh, that partition is still, like, the waterfall partition is still showing right there. So I still need to place something to block all those off, which I do have an idea. And it's going to involve these white screens. So, okay. Those are going to come back. This is going to come back, but I'm going to leave that one there for measurement. And I'm going to move the planters down here just so they're out of my way. Okay, so stage panel or screen. Okay. And the reason I'm going to use this white screen is because of the color of this wood that is happening on the back side and the underside of it. Dang it. And I absolutely love using the stage panel for this stuff. It's a wonderful, wonderful, wonderful piece. I don't actually use the side that I think they tend you to use. Okay. The other reason I'm going to use it is because unlike some of the other housing items, it's not too bad as far as lifting it up. Dang it. Okay. I forgot. You have to go from inventory. You place it, and depending on the height, it will snap up. But you also have to make sure you're hitting the hitbox. I'm probably not hitting the hitbox. Okay. I might not have been missing it as much as what I thought it was, but I'm going to make sure I move this around so that way I don't hit this thing's hitbox. Come on. Maybe I can't go that far. It's been a hot minute since I've done these either. Let's see. Wall mounted. Did I have to use a Riviera wall shelf? This is the other thing. Oh, come on. You damn thing. Come on. I was just complimenting you. And you're being stubborn. What's your problem, stage panel? So I can see this thing's hitbox. Okay. Turn the grid snap off. I've gotten very rusty with this, it seems. Okay, so the shelf, I'm definitely not hitting the hitbox. And I'm using the rotation tool here to kind of see where the hitbox is at, which is this ring that's coming up. because I've got to hit that. There we go. Before it'll move up. And then when you place it, you're going to quickly hit escape out and it should move up. And you have to do it from inventory. It's not going to work properly if you do it from storage. And you have to be careful because sometimes it'll snap back down. There we go. I kind of like when it claims fail to complete housing action because then it just puts it right back in your inventory and you don't have to worry about it. Okay, so that was a little bit of a slow start on getting this up, but otherwise not too terribly bad. This is a lot less painful than lifting up most of your regular wall partitions. Because most of your wall partitions can only, one of the reasons that this Riviera shelf is so popular is a lot of them can only move up by the amount of that ledge. Some of them can't even move up that much. Like I lifted up gel partitions in my alt characters free company room. Those can move up so little. It took forever to lift those up and it was terrible. Okay. And I don't want to lift it up too far. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn the grid snap back on and I'm going to select the object and just kind of twist it a little bit to try to keep it in place for now. So that way it doesn't fall back down. If you don't do that little twist, when you leave and come back, it falls back down. So I'm going to exit the house and come back in just to make 100% sure I don't lose where that's at. And that process does get interrupted if other people come into the house. So that's why like I'm constantly, when I do decorate free company houses, I tell my FC, I'm like, nobody come in right now. I will let you know when you can come back into the house. Or please ask before you come into the house. So that way I can pause what I'm doing and you can come in. Because otherwise, like if you're lifting something up like that, it comes crashing back down to the ground and then you gotta start all over. And it could be so frustrating when it's a small partition. Like just to show it, let's see, move to a specified chambers. There's my alt. So this is her room. And these partitions are royal pain in the ass to lift up. They can only lift up the, I'm so used to being on my alt when I'm in this room because my alt is an raw. So she's short and tiny. But this little bottom part of the railing, that's the amount that it can lift up each time. So it took forever getting those gates lifted up there. It took so long. And it was very, very agonizing. Such a huge pain. But, like, I really wanted a warehouse look happening in here. And overall, pretty happy with the outcome. But, yeah, fuck lifting those up. That sucked. It would have sucked if I were like that. That's why I'm like I will not do that in the regular house because like I can't pause that midway through Whereas like lifting these stage panels up, or not stage panels, but these screens, not at all a big deal. Okay, I'm going to try to lift this one up real quick and try to finish this little, or at least get a decent look happening with this little area. Turn the grid snap off because I really want to just be able to get it on to the stage panel and then place it, hit escape, and get that placed there. Put that shelf back in my inventory. Place and escape. Place and escape. Very quick place and escape movements. Another one that could be really hard to lift up is your vendors. But doing it with a Riviera shelf, I think they can go up as much as the ledge of that shelf. I went up a little too high with that. Inventory. And now it's a little too high, or at least it's higher than the other one. But looking at the, I'm going to go from the bottom now. Just kind of fine tune where I'm at. Like looking at the waterfall, I have it blocked off, which is the main thing that I want to do. Looking at the top, I can actually go up a decent amount. So I'm actually going to go back up from the top here. Okay. Oops. Rotate this back around. And I can still see the hitbox from down here, and I'm going to miss the hitbox if I use the shelving. So I want to make sure I move further up. Toggle that back off. Hi, cat that thinks I'm spare human. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness, what did I do to deserve this? So I have, for reference as to what I'm talking about, I have a tortoiseshell cat that to her, I make the joke that I am spare human. Because she really doesn't ever show me love and affection, or at least very, very rarely does she show me love and affection. Like, it really is a super rare thing. And she's on my desk. She's not necessarily showing me love and affection, but she's on my desk. And this is weird for me. Not a bad weird. It's just different for me. I'm like, what? I actually deserved this. I earned this. What's happening here? Okay, lowered it back down so that way these are more even. And I was expecting it to be a little bit further off than that, but it's actually not very far off at all. Like those seem pretty dang level. Get that out of the way. And there we go. Now I've got the top part matching the vibes. Got some nice wood happening in there. And now I can put this stuff back in here. So that way I don't have that gaping top happening. And it only cost me 2 housing items to do it. I remembered I couldn't put it too far over. Trying to get this to move by like maybe a pixel. They were actually, it was actually pretty well lined up. Better than I thought it was. Oh, this needs to go further over. And I might be able to cover that middle part up with either a pillar or something of some sort, just to kind of add some elevation right there. Got some planters here next to some nice little seating. Whoops, that's a little, I see the light coming up. I want to move that further back. There we go. Now, I don't necessarily have to have these lined up back here. Like unless somebody actually happens to hop back here, no one's going to know. No, my free company members, somebody will hop back there because they like to find where things are broken and then make fun of me about it. And I'm like, well, I'm not here to not make you get stuff. I am here to make the house look pretty. If you get stuck, that's on you. There we go. And now we have a nice little moody alcove. I might add something to this to try to get like some books and stuff happening in this little area. Because I feel like these could be nice little reading nooks. But I feel like this adds a different level of, or something different to that space that's still dark and moody. There are still ways that I can elevate and lighten this up, though, to still keep it dark and moody, but also keep it cozy, but still add like a wow factor to all of it. Just go place a couple more things so that way they're not going to, or some of this stuff isn't going to bother me as much. I'm not 100% sure if I'm going to keep those verdant partitions there, which those verdant partitions came from the firmament. They're probably not super expensive anymore. I'd have to double check the market board on that. But that's where these partitions come from. On their own, they're okay. I prefer to use them with items, whether it be like the waterfall partition or other items. But as I said, like they're all right. They were really big when they first came out, especially. I like having water features in case that information was not known. I keep finding things. I'm like, I know I need to go do other things in real life, but I'm like, there are just too many things I want to do for decorating this free company right now. Because I definitely want to add some elements of decor onto these walls to kind of help this Yeah, I'm like, I've got real life things that I do, but can't help it. I want my house decorated. So I'm gonna go longer and keep decorating because I need this decorated now. I could probably do something a little different with that, but I'm like, it's bothering me how barren these walls are. Okay, that looks pretty centered. These chairs are not very centered now, though. So you go a little bit this way. There we go. That's better. Okay. It just adds like a nice little, a little bit of light there. And then this space, not 100% sure what I'm going to do with this space yet. But going to make it into some sort of little alcove. Definitely add some stuff over here on this wall because this wall is very bare. Not a whole lot happening with it. This space over here is going to need some different tables and chairs. Do something with this verdant partition. Do something a little bit different with some of these cabinets. Add some steps in various places. Like I think this could use some steps. Could probably or need to expand this out and add some steps. Need to create my wall over here for three gads. I might just get their pictures up on the wall if I've got them in my regular inventory or in my storage here. And it looks like I must have thrown them either on my retainer or in my private chamber storage. I'll probably make some use of these botanical lofts somewhere because I feel like they're a necessity and could definitely elevate some things. And I've got several of them, so we'll probably make some use of those and continue expanding even more on the main floor and the upstairs. But making really, really good progress. I'm very happy with these chairs. They're nice chairs. These are very, very nice chairs. I feel like they match the mood pretty damn perfectly, even with the teal cushions. I do wish I could dye those teal cushions, but they match the vibes pretty dang well. And I've already got some teal stuff happening anyway, so like I'm not necessarily heartbroken that those are teal. I just wish I could start using some colors that aren't teal in some other things. And actually get the some other colors and vibes and stuff that I wanted to do. But for Friday's stream, I will continue decorating at least for part of the stream because I really want to get this house done. I might make some more progress off stream just so that I can get the house done a little bit faster and not take weeks and weeks and weeks to build the house. But I will continue decorating on Friday for at least part of the stream. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you all so much also for asking questions. You all have absolutely wonderful and fantastic questions. I love answering your questions because some of the things that I'm doing, I don't necessarily think about all the time. Just sort of forget, like for instance, like the submarines and stuff. Like like I said, very, very early on in the stream, submarines are almost like their own game. So there are plenty of people that are just like, oh my gosh, like you're just playing your own game over there, aren't you? Like this is very different than what I'm doing in Final Fantasy 14. And I'm like, yeah, you're, that's pretty accurate. Like it is definitely a very different experience. And it definitely changes the game for you. But we'll continue on Friday. Thank you all so much for your patience. Thank you all for being here with me. I really hope I don't have a migraine again this Friday. I'm really over having migraines. I hate them. I'm tired of them, and I really just want to get this house decorated. Um, so thank you all so much for being here. Have a wonderful rest of your Wednesday, and I will hopefully see you all on Friday.